back to CJ's Kitchen. Today I have another episode of Beyond Pizza, Food for Gamers for you. So I do have to make a quick disclaimer about this series. Beyond Pizza doesn't necessarily mean that there will never be pizza in these videos. It is about exploring ways to make your gaming meals right at home and making things that are delicious and fresh and that you know what's in them. And just that it's such a trope, like to always have pizza, but my group does sometimes do that. And so I bring that up because we were supposed to have a gaming session yesterday, and we always play, we meet at lunchtime and play for several hours, break for dinner, and then play into the night until usually 10 or 11, sometimes later. But that means we have to eat lunch and dinner every time. We find that having lunch first gives us a chance to kind of chat and get all our visiting out of the way before we start trying to get our heads into the game, and it works really well for us. So we usually split up meals, and so my plan was to make chicken wings and homemade pizza. So I'm gonna separate the pizza into another video. So today I'm going to do the chicken wing portion, and I'm going to do the chicken wings three ways. So I recently had these absolutely delicious lemon pepper chicken wings from one of the local grocery delis that were just, I mean, really, they were so good. They didn't need any sauce. They were just really good all by themselves. They were nice and crispy, and they were really full of lemony flavor, and they had a nice balance of pepper. And I've been working on copying that. So that will be one of the recipes today. It was actually a really easy one to come up with. So I'll share that with you. I'm also going to do some hot wings, your typical buffalo wing, and I have a honey ginger sesame version for you as well. So I will show you all of those. What we're going to do with these is we're going to roast them in the oven, so they're going to be not deep fried, they're not going to be breaded, and I feel like they're a little bit healthier version of a chicken wing. So to start out with, I did prepare a sheet pan, cookie sheet, the kind with a rim, with some nonstick spray, and then I covered that with a cookie rack, an oven-proof cookie rack that is also sprayed. I actually spray it on both sides with the nonstick spray because chicken wings do get pretty messy. You want to start by preheating your oven to 450, and you want to set your chicken wings out about 20 minutes before you're going to start putting them together so that they can come to room temperature. Anytime you're working with meat proteins, that's a tip. It helps keep them juicy, and there's not such that shock of going from very, very cold to really hot temperatures, and you tend to get a nicer, more tender and juicy product. So we're gonna start out with, I have 3 packages of chicken wings. So I'm gonna start with seasoning them liberally with salt and pepper. And I am using coarse salt, which is just my preference. It's kosher salt. I just find that I really like the coarse a lot better. And then I'm freshly cracking the pepper. So get that done, and then I'm gonna flip over the wings and hit them on the second side, so you have both sides covered. And I think maybe because I am having to go to 2 pans, I might not need to crowd the pan so bad. That's another thing, is a lot of times when you're trying to roast or fry things, or even in a skillet, even if it's a shallow fry, it's really good not to crowd your pan. So I don't like when I have to do that in order to get the quantity put together that I want. But having these on a rack really helps because it helps the air circulate around them. So I happen to have an oven that has a really good convection setting on it. It's a combination gas and electric stove. So it's very nice, and it works great. So I have my wings seasoned. I'm going to transfer them to the racks and get them into the oven, and they're gonna bake for 20 to 30 minutes. And then we will come back and work on the sauces. For the sauces, I like to make them in mason jars. They're really handy. You can melt butter right in them and put all the ingredients in them, give them a shake, and pour them over the wings when the wings are ready. So I'm going to start with the lemon pepper sauce, and I have a couple tablespoons of butter here that I'm going to drop right into the jar. And then the next step is going to be to zest this lemon. I'm going to use the zest as a final seasoning. I'm going to use the zest with some pepper, some more pepper, and some salt, and that's going to be sprinkled on top after the sauce itself goes on. But we're also going to use the juice of the lemon, so you got to get the zest first. So when you're zesting, make sure to only get the yellow part. If you get down into the white part, it'll get bitter. And I want all of that zest because I want these as tangy and lemony as possible. And I just use my microplane for this whole process, and it's going to come in handy with some of the other sauces too. So I'm just going to set that aside and we'll come back to that lemon. So now I'm going to melt this butter in the microwave, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with my melted butter, and now I'm going to juice the lemon right into the jar with the melted butter. Okay, so my lemon is juiced, and so you can see that I have actually about 2 parts juice to 1 part butter, and that's just fine. And I'm going to set this aside now until the wings come out of the oven. But I'm going to move on to the lemon pepper zest mixture. So all I'm going to do is add some fresh cracked pepper to the lemon zest. And it's going to be hard to have an exact measurement for this because it's going to depend on how much zest you get from your lemon. The bigger the lemon, the more pepper you're going to need. But you're going to want a nice ratio of pepper to lemon zest. And somewhat to just your own personal taste too, but I like it pretty peppery, and so does my husband. So I'm gonna just give this a stir with a fork, and actually want a little bit more pepper in there. You can see that it is a little weak. All right, so I have a nice amount of pepper in there, and now I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt. I'm not adding a lot because remember we already seasoned the chicken wings with salt and pepper, but a little bit of salt's really nice on that finish so that you get that balance of that little bit of saltiness with the tanginess of the lemon and the bite of the pepper. And it should look something like this when you're done. And sorry about the lighting, it's early in the morning, so and it's a cloudy day, so the sun keeps breaking out and changing the lighting on me, but we'll just make do. So again, once the wings come out of the oven, we're going to toss them in the butter and lemon juice, and then sprinkle on the zest mixture, and they'll be set to go. You can always pop them back in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes to get them warm back up if you want to make them in advance. It also helps a little to kind of set the sauce on the wings. So if you like them really sloppy, serve them as is when they're hot. If you want them a little more set and a little less messy, you can bake them for about 10 minutes longer once you've put the sauces on. So we're setting these aside, and let's move on to the hot sauce. So the hot sauce also has butter in it. I've got about 2 more tablespoons here that I'm going to add right to the jar. And to that, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of this red hot wing sauce. You could also use straight up hot sauce, whatever your favorite is, and add the butter, and if you add some basil or something, that's really, really nice. But this wing sauce is really handy. It's already made and ready to go. So I'm just gonna pour some of that in the jar. And actually, that's all there is to this one. You will want to melt the butter before you add this to the wings. Just pop it in the microwave, melt the butter, and it'll warm up the sauce at the same time. It'll be really nice. So this one is also set to go. I'm gonna put a lid on it for now until I'm ready for it and just set it out of the way. Last but not least, we have the honey garlic sesame wings. I'm actually going to add not just garlic, but ginger as well. I'm just using a nice big fat clove of garlic, and I'm just gonna zest that, or grate that using my microplane right into the jar. And then I finally started keeping my ginger in the freezer. So I'm just pulling this right out of the freezer to use. And I'm just trying to find a nice piece. That's about an inch of ginger. I probably won't use the whole thing because I don't want it too strong. And I'm not even going to peel it because we're just grating it right in there. So it actually grates up easier when it's frozen too, I'm finding. Okay, and yeah, I only used maybe a third of that. And that's what it looks like in the jar. So the lighter bits are the ginger. I don't know how well that shows up, but it's about equal parts of ginger. So next thing is to add the honey. And I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of honey. Actually did about 3 tablespoons. And then I'm going to add some regular soy sauce. This is less sodium soy sauce, the low sodium. I just prefer it to be a little bit less salty. I'm going to put about a tablespoon and a half in here. And then I'm going to add some sweet soy sauce. So this is a sweet, I don't know if they add sweetener to it, but it is sweet and it's thick. It's a little syrupy compared to what you're used to with soy sauce. Pour that in so you can see how syrupy it is. See how thick? So I'm going to add about a tablespoon and a half of that as well. I'm looking for equal parts of soy to honey for this. So there you go. You can see really clearly the divisions, and they're about equal. So that's perfect. Last but not least, I'm going to add some sesame oil. I keep my sesame oil in the fridge because I don't go through it very fast. So it does solidify a little bit in the jar. So it's good to let it sit out on the counter for a minute, and then I usually just give it a shake. So I'm going to add a good healthy, so that was about 2 teaspoons because I really like the sesame flavor. So now I'm just going to put the lid on the jar, give it a shake. And the ginger and the garlic want to stick to the bottom. So that ginger and garlic are still being stubborn, so I'm just going to take a fork to it. Yeah, oh, it's really thick. This is going to be a really nice consistency. You could probably add a little bit of acid to this as well, a little lime juice or lemon juice, just depending on your preference. But today I'm going for more of a sweet, sticky sauce, so hopefully. All right, so now that I've given it a stir, I'm going to shake it one more time just to make sure everything's getting incorporated, but you can see that I got it off the bottom. And the honey wasn't moving around too well either, so there we go. So now I'm just going to give it a taste. It's good, but I still want more sesame oil. A little bit more sesame flavor, so just a tiny bit more. And I am going to add a little bit of salt. And that's the great thing about using the sweet soy sauce, doesn't have a lot of salt. And then when you use the low sodium too, it's not as overpoweringly salty. And so again, even though we did season the chicken wings, I do feel like it still needs a little bit of saltiness to the sauce, and especially because it is kind of on the extra sweet side. So one more taste. Perfect. It has a nice toastiness from the toasted sesame oil. It's got the sweetness from the honey and the sweet soy. And I think as this sits for a little bit, the ginger and the garlic will start to come through too. Now I think with this one, I definitely want to toss the wings really well and bake them for 10 or 15 minutes. So I will probably bake them a little bit longer than than any of the other wings so that they get more of a coating with this on them. All right, so that's the sauces. So we'll come back in a little bit and finish everything up when the wings come out of the oven. So once you get the wings seasoned and ready to go, just bake them in the oven for about 20 minutes. Once they come out of the oven, you're going to toss them in the sauces and return them to the oven for another 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and they'll be hot and bubbly and the sauce will be set. And then you're all set to serve. So that's it for this Wings 3 Ways video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative, and I hope you'll try these recipes. If you do, let me know how they turn out for you in the comments below. As always, don't forget to give this video the thumbs up if you enjoyed it so I know what kinds of videos to make. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. And until next time when I see you here in my kitchen, ciao.